Hello fellow swivel heads, this is Greg Gals from Green Grass Garden and Worm Farm coming to you on the 5th of December 2020. Why do I say swivel heads? Because I always tell people keep their eyes wide up and head on the swivel so they know what's coming at them. That's always one of my big monikers on my channel. I also tell people that it is my proposition on my channel is help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And I got a new idea for this. Well, it's not a new idea, it's been an old idea and I've covered it somewhat obliquely in the years past, but let's drill into it. We're going to talk about when it hits the fan, when you know what hits the fan, sharecropping. Boy, the drag strip's going, I can't help that. Sharecropping your neighbor's lawn and adjacent farms. What? Yeah. Well, guess what, guys? Everybody's going to be hungry when it hits the fan. And trying to figure out how to eat. Might be good to start a little bit of that now, like sharecropping your neighbor's lawns. Or letting your neighbors sharecrop. And cutting the propositions with them, and this might be the key difference between you eating and your neighbors not eating you, and survival of your community survival. Because we all live with people around us. Even I'm looking at a place in Arizona, population's like 1 person per square mile, but there's still people there. All right, what is it? What is sharecropping your neighbor's lawn? What is sharecropping farms that are out there today? And how in the world could you possibly do that? Okay. In America, North America, we have 42 to 47 million acres of lawns. If you converted those and farmed them in the manner and intensity with just raised bed garden technology like I use here, and a little bit of trellising like I got back over there or right over here, you can, on 1/10 of an acre, grow enough food to support 4 adults and have food to sell too. The Dervaes family in Pasadena, California grows all the food to eat except for grain products. And they sell from 1/10 of an acre in their backyard. And they supported 4 adults until the father, Jules Dervaes, died. His 3 children are all adults and they're continuing the tradition. And they're very well at it. It's a lot of work, but that shows what's possible. Now, most people don't know how to farm. They don't know what to do with their lawns, and a lot of people covet their lawns. But when they're hungry, they're going to start thinking about it a little differently. So the proposition is this. What you do for the lawns, I'm going to talk about a couple different propositions. Oh, yeah. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell, and click all to keep getting these videos. Also, we're talking about farming. One of the best places to go for seeds, and you're going to need to buy seeds from what I'm talking about. You're going to want a lot of seeds. Go to True Leaf Market. Go to my link. Click my link below. It'll help my channel, and it won't cost you a dime more, but it'll definitely help me. True Leaf Market. Link below my channel. And not only that, but they show you how to grow the seeds you get. I also do videos on that kind of stuff here. But they talk to you about it, and they also have supplies. Lots of supplies, especially for growing microgreens indoors, which will give you a big leap ahead. All right, let's get back to the sharecropping now. Whew. What you need to do is talk to your neighbors. You might want to start these conversations today. They may not be yet to the point that they're ready for it or really believe in it. Okay, even with the stuff that's happening here in 2020, they may not be quite there. Some are. So start talking to your neighbors and getting used to them, and you might find some that's willing to do this. Look, Curtis Stone rented neighbors' backyards and front yards. In this little town in British Columbia, Kelowna, or whatever you say it, they have small yards there, very small yards. Yet, by renting about 6 yards, he could get enough yards to grow on about 1/4 of an acre, and he actually made $100,000 a year doing that on 1/4 of an acre. And that's as much as he wanted to grow on. That's a lot to manage when you consider the Dervaes family had 4 adults working 1/10 of an acre, now 3. And yeah, they're busy, they work that. So, what do? Talk to your neighbors and say, you know what? We got some hard times going. I think it would be more advantageous to us for our own food production to go into this together. And say, hey, I know that maybe you're not, full up on farming, but here's what I would do. I would give you half the produce from the farm, or half the profit from it, or a certain amount per, volume of land, if you just let me sharecrop your yard. I mean, that's how the old propositions of sharecropping went. Basically, somebody provided land and somebody else came in and farmed it. They would provide the land, the facility, and sometimes a home, and another family, usually a home, the other family would come in and farm it, and the owner got half. He got half of the crop. And they sold it, so he wound up having the profit, half the profit. He did provide some other, I don't know if they provided seed. I don't think they did in many cases. It probably will vary. Curtis Stone, had a much more agreeable thing. He would let the people, he would pay the people in food, and it wasn't some ginormous amount of money that he was paying people to sharecrop their yards. And you want to be careful if you get into that. You don't want to overpledge a lot of money if you're not producing high value crops. Now that's what he emphasized, was high dollar, high turnover crops that you could probably harvest like 3 times a year, even in British Columbia. That's how he made that kind of money. And he talked quite a bit in his books about that, Urban Farmer. Check that book out, The Urban Farmer. Check out Curtis Stone's channel. You can check out the Dervaes. I got 2 videos on my channel with Dervaes. I did a video with Curtis Stone, but we were talking about basically freedom topics. So they're all good people. But that gives you the art of the possibility. Go and sharecrop your neighbor's lawns. So now it may be that you could reverse that. You could have your neighbors sharecrop your lawn. Maybe you're too busy. Say, hey, I'm busy, but I tell you what, you could eat. I got lawn here. If you can grow on my lawn, you can have half the produce. I keep half. I eat and you eat. And you're not eating me and I'm not eating you. That's the best part of the proposition. You can tell, hey, look, neighbor, I got an idea so that we won't have to eat each other when it hits the fan. And here's the idea. Now, as you know, I bought a lot of tools. I've been buying a lot of tools. One of my videos, I went to Lowe's and I spent $1,000 on just manual garden tools. And you saw I went to the trade days, the flea markets, before and after that, buying even more manual garden tools. Greg, why ain't got so many? So I could have basically a tool room where my neighbors could even access the tools, so we'd have enough tools to garden in my neighborhood. And I would also have spares to last for a while. I do have a blacksmith shop too I need to set up. That'll help maintain and create tools down the road. A lot of things to do. You may see sometimes when I go to the flea market, I buy some blacksmith tools. I bought one today, one for cutting metal. So and it's an old tool. I'm gonna tell you how old that is. Metal cutter. So I'm still buying and getting ready to set up a blacksmith shop. Maybe I'll do 2. I might do one here and one. I'm basically gonna have to replicate everything I'm doing here in Arizona. Oh yeah, if you don't know, I am in the process of purchasing 40 acres in Arizona to expand my worm farm to be bi-coastal. Now, sharecropping. So, other possibilities here is that, of course, you can go to several neighbors and sharecrop several neighbors' lawns and make a business out of it like Curtis Stone did, or grow food. It may not be so profitable. Work with your neighbors. But you could also have another deal for your neighbors, a little different deal. Okay, I got seed and tools. I will provide you the seed, the tools, and the know-how. You grow on your own place and give me a piece of the action. Yeah, you remember that Star Trek episode called A Piece of the Action? Well, they went back to the 20s, or no, it was a planet that had a book about the gang days, and the whole planet tried to emulate, the gangster Chicago. Whole planet, Chicago gangster in 1920s. That was funny. Yeah, what they would do for plots, yeah. But in the end, they made a deal for a piece of the action. So your piece of the action is this. You say, look, you got a lawn. You want to grow food? I got seed, I got tools, and I got know-how. I will share my tools. You got to take care of them. You may have to negotiate, if they break them, what that means. But I got tools. Yeah, there shouldn't be a no consequence thing if they tear up your tools. I got seeds and I have know-how. Maybe you would even negotiate to help them. So it's going to be up to you to what you negotiate and what percentage you get back to them. Let's say you got 10 neighbors, and let's say you should actually get more than 10%. We get them all the seeds and tools. I'd say you should get at least 15%, maybe 20. especially if you go in and help them. Yeah, it should go up a little bit, depending on how much help you give them. But, you know, just talk to your neighbors and negotiate with them what your piece of the action is going to be. If you got 10%, so hey, it's like a tithe. Give me 10%. I'll give you seeds and tools and know-how. That's actually a good deal for them. If you had 10 neighbors take you up, guess what? They're growing, they're eating, and you're eating 100% because you got 10 that you're getting 10% from, and some of them fail, you got backup. Wow, suddenly you got 100%. You're eating. Maybe you're infirm. Maybe you're not capable of gardening. Maybe you're in a wheelchair, but you could afford to buy seeds and buy tools. Maybe you've got knowledge that you can talk to your neighbors about, or maybe you can tell them where to go to find the knowledge. Right now they can come to my YouTube channel, right? I'm about to publish some books, aren't I? Because we're going to need books when the grid goes down. So, all right, now so here's the fight. So you can share crop your neighbors' lawns, cut deals for your neighbors to share crop your lawn. That's two things. You can ask for a piece of the action. That's the fourth thing. Now about, oh, wait a minute. Am I counting right? I'm a lead engineer. I should be able to count. Let's go over that again. I talked about you share crop in their yards. They're share crop in your yards. You're getting a piece of the action. Now we're going to hit the fourth one. Farms. Farms. Greg, you gotta be crazy. The farm's got big equipment. They got it all covered. You ain't gonna go on a farm and farm their property. Yeah? Guess what? When grid hits a fan, those farms will be fallow. They ain't been going anything. Nothing. Why? All those big tractors have got to have fuel. Lots of fuel. They grow with chemicals. Their seeds come from deals where they have to buy the seeds every year now because they're genetically modified seeds. They're not even allowed to keep their seeds. So these farms have no seed. They're not going to get the pesticides, the chemicals, everything that they're getting, that they're used to growing their crops with, and they're not going to have the fuel to run their tractors. Their tractors are complex, very complex. They have a complex machinery and mechanisms and hydraulics and avionics, almost. It's electronics, software, lots of software. They even have to upgrade their software every year. I mean, they spend $1 million on a tractor and then spend a ton of money just upgrading the software every year because, you know, they don't own it. They have to upgrade it. They're really getting stuck, really stuck. And these tractors will be stuck because they're not going to run. The farm equipment won't be run, not all that new stuff. Some of the old tractors will run and do some things, but where are they going to get the seeds from? Where are they going to get the fuel from? They might make a little biodiesel. They may be able to farm, at best, a small fraction of the farm if they can find a seed that they can grow. But they're going to have to manufacture their own food. They're going to have to keep their fuel. They're going to have to keep spare parts. They're going to be running out of parts. They're going to have to find a way to manufacture and replace parts. Maybe a machine shop, but machine shops aren't going to have power to run either. Everything's falling apart, fraying apart. Basically, the farms will be fallow. There'll be very, very little growing there. Farmers will be starving to death. The farmers today, I've done the videos on this. I did a video where I went all over the countryside looking at farms up here around this area in Alabama, down in Georgia, where they got a huge agricultural area in South Georgia. And what you'll find is about only 1 in 8 farms have a garden. And all those gardens are little token gardens, just for growing a few little nice to eats that, you know, a little fresh okra, a few fresh tomatoes. Some people think it's a garden. No, that's not growing food. That's not feeding you. That's just something to garnish what you eat with, basically. So these farms are going to be in serious trouble. The farmers will be in serious trouble. So if you got seed, tools, and know-how, you can go to a farmer or a landowner. Don't go. Well, a lot of people, these farmers rent land just like everybody else that they're farming. And some of the land rents for about $20 an acre on some of these big farms. In more urban areas, they may pay, in Madison County, Marshall County, where I grew up, they pay $20 an acre. I don't know what to pay in the Midwest, maybe less. But here in, I imagine it is less. Here in Madison County, Alabama, the farmers are paying $80 an acre, big difference. So, wow. You can go to a farmer and say this: you got land. I got tools and seed. Your land's fallow. I could grow on your land and I will give you some fraction. Well, if they're not putting you up a place to live, you may not give them half. Maybe you give them a quarter. You'd have to negotiate with them. What's an equitable negotiated amount? And maybe you also share seed with them, seed and tools and say, okay, you grow over here, and you get, you know, 3/4 for what you grow. I grow over here, and I get 3/4 out of what I grow. You know, or whatever the fraction is, you'd have to negotiate with them. But if they're growing it, they get a bigger piece. If, you know, especially on their land. If you're growing it, and they're not giving you a place to live, you get a bigger than half piece. Maybe that's the way to cut it. I don't know. You got to come up with something that you and the landowner would agree to. And even if you're getting only half, or maybe even less, you still might be ahead. It beats nothing. It beats nothing. It beats starving. But you could suddenly, there's farms all around here. There's farms all over the place around here that won't be operational. I got a lot of seed. I could go grow on those farms. That would be my last place I'd want to grow. I'd rather grow in the yards first, because the yards are not, it's chemically treated. The farms are chemically treated. If I go to a farm and grow, I'd rather find a pasture and grow in pasture land where they've not been spraying so much stuff. That would be my preferences. But if you're hungry, you can't be too choosy or too picky. So there you go. I've just outlined to you 4 ways to share crop grid down. It hits the fan. 4 ways to do it, and it hits the fan, grid down sharecropping arrangement with your neighbors and local farmers to keep you alive so you can survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive when the grid goes down. The key to that is have tools, seed, and know-how. Start gardening. If you're not already gardening, do it. No, it isn't just a matter of sticking a stick in the ground and putting seed in. It takes practice to learn how to deal with things as they change from year to year. The first year you garden, you probably won't have any pests. So you think, oh, that was good. I've had people, oh yeah, I gardened one year and there's no problems. I had somebody on my channel tell me that. It was easy. Well, the pests don't start coming in about year 2 or 3 sometimes. And then you get deer. Deer didn't show up here until about 3 years of me gardening back here. And then they came in and cleaned me out one year. Then I learned what I couldn't grow unattended, or how I had to adjust for it. So yeah, deer, raccoons, possums, stink bugs, squash bugs as you might want to call them. I'll do a video on how to get rid of those one day. Didn't have any this year in my squash because I planted my squash late and I didn't grow any squash the year before. I didn't have any stink bugs on my squash this year. That was amazing. I enjoyed that. But there are ways of doing these things, my friends, and that's what I'm talking about. So you can share crop, survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. That, combined with wild edibles, could keep you alive, you and your family, and could keep your neighbors from eating each other. Elsewise, you're all long pork. What's for dinner? It's Jody next door. Jim, Slim Jims. Jim's too slim. I'm using them to pick my teeth. Yeah, I'm just teasing about that part. No, I do not advocate that kind of stuff. It's gross. But there will be people that would go there. Definitely people that would go there when they get hungry enough. So just bear that in mind. I've just told you how to do it. Start thinking about it. Study it. It's a way for you to stay alive. Also, my survival communities are part of that, and my universal habitat. You'll be able to grow all your food out of that. I'm going to do more on that. I'm going to build one right here. So now that you've watched it this long, so I know you've seen it this long, say, Greg, I get the point for how to share crop to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.